So on to supporting documents, and at the top of this slide, you'll just see a little extract from, we have a checklist at the end of each of the application forms, and this is just extracted. And it lists the support documents you would be asked to submit. And it's a good idea to be thinking about these before you get to the end of your application, and thinking about how they support your application. So the curriculum vitae, as you would with any applying for a new job, a new role, you tend to tailor your CV and the content of your application, and applying to the NI is no different, really. You may have had a purely nuclear career that's followed a very direct path in very sort of core nuclear roles. You may have had a more varied career. You may be transferring into the sector from another sector. So it's important that you kind of review what's in your CV and draw out the nuclear sector roles and responsibilities, any particular requirements in roles that would link with you supporting your application. If you are transferring in, are there aspects of the practice and expertise that you've applied in, perhaps another high hazard industry or heavily regulated industry that transfers across? Try and tease a little bit of that out and essentially make it easy, just as you do when you're submitting a job application. Make it easier for the people reviewing it to say, oh yeah, I see how that fits. So beyond that, we're not expecting great big extended CV. It can be standard sort of length, but just make sure that you do highlight those aspects. And certificates I've already talked about. Historically, we've normally asked for verified copies of verified photocopies of originals. So essentially, someone signing a certificate, a copy of a certificate, to say, yeah, I've seen the original. I can confirm this is an accurate copy. In the current climate, and the more we deal with electronic records, that becomes more and more difficult. Electronic signatures onto copies is acceptable. It may be possible, because sharing your originals and getting people to view your originals at the moment is difficult. May be possible through your HR department, where you've previously supplied copies in support of your application, to just say, can you just give me a quick verification email to confirm that sort of thing. That is all okay. We're not sort of beholden to hard copies and the old-fashioned way of doing things. But as with all these things, we do kind of reserve the right to go back and double check if we have any queries or reservations. And then the last bit on this is in terms of the organisation chart. And people often don't see this until they get to the end of the application form. But what we're really asking for is something that will give the assessor a bit of an insight into the role and help them to interpret the rest of the information you've included in your application. So it doesn't need to be the official organisation organogram. It doesn't need to be professionally produced or produced using one of those organisation chart software packages. And it doesn't indeed need to be for the full organisation. It does need to show where your own role sits, try and demonstrate the reporting lines, both who you report to and those reporting to you, and any interrelationships with others. So we're not stipulating particular format. If you are if you're happy to produce something on Word or even hand drawn is okay, as long as, again, we can go back and we can verify that the information, the claims you're making are correct. And we would only do that if it was a situation where we were looking at apparent disparities or things that didn't seem to follow through from what you'd included. Usually it's the other way around, as I said, that people have job roles where you would expect to see quite a lot of management or leadership responsibility or influence, and it doesn't come through in the evidence that's been included in the application, rather than people claiming more than they've got. That's a relatively rare situation. So the organisation chart, just worth maybe asking early on, Have you got one? Can you download one, access one on your intranet? Just think about how you're going to do that, and then looking at it and saying to yourself, asking yourself, does that really address, is it going to help the assessors understand where my role fits?